Good morning to all the participants who have joined this national campaign. I now request Dr. Leela Edwin, Director ICAR-CIFT, to please offer her opening remarks.
Yeah. Good morning to all. Good morning, SIC of Mumbai Research Center. I see SIC of Visakhapatnam Research Center, Dr. Shankar, PME Cell in charge, scientists of Mumbai Research Center, my colleagues at headquarters, scientists from other research institutes, research scholars, students, ladies and gentlemen who have joined. Welcome to this meeting. As you know, Azadi Amrut Mahotsav is an initiative of the Government of India to commemorate the 75 glorious years of independence. The Indian Council of Agricultural Research has taken this up by organizing different national campaigns throughout the country under different themes. So CIFT is leading this a national campaign on fish for health and prosperity. This was inaugurated on the 16th of July by the chairman of MPDA. And since then, we have been trying to reach out to the masses through print, digital media, electronic media, and to reiterate the importance of fish in nutrition. As you know, you are going to listen to a scholarly talk by Dr. Asha, who has been working in this field of nutrition for, I think, more than 20 years. Fish and fishery products are recognized as a very healthy food containing rich amount of proteins, vitamins, fats, minerals. It can form part of nutrition to any age group. And that's why the consumption of fish is increasing globally. It has increased from 9 kg per head in 1961 to 20.5 kg in 2018 as per FAO statistics. As you know, some of you may not be knowing about CIFT. For those who are not very familiar with CIFT, CIFT was established in 1957 and is the only national center in the country catering to the harvest and post-harvest aspects of fish and research aspects of fish. The CIFT functions from Cochin as the headquarters. It has research centers at Veraval, Gujarat, Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh, and Mumbai, Maharashtra. Right from development of fishing vessels and fishing gear, we have been in the fields of value addition, quality control, nutrition, and extension of all technologies developed in the institute to the stakeholders. So CIFT is selected to speak on this subject, and we are proud that we could reach out to the masses for a considerable number of people in this area. And we reiterate again to the governments, to the local governments, to the state governments, and the central government that fish should be given due importance in all the national, global, and national programs, regional programs for eliminating hunger and malnutrition, and all nutrition strategies formulated by the different governmental agencies and the non-governmental agencies. With this, I think we will invite Dr. Asha to start the lecture on nutrition, fish for health and prosperity. And I wish the participants take this message to their respective institutes and organizations and spread it to the public also. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, madam, for your kind words and introduction.
Dr.
Ma'am, can I make the presentation now?
We are waiting for you.
Yes.
You can share your presentation.
Ma'am, I'm doing it now. Thank you. Okay, at the outset, I would like to wish all of you a very good morning and extend a warm welcome to this national campaign on Fish for Health and Prosperity. It is being conducted as part of the Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav celebrations. And I belong to the Central Institute of Fisheries Technology, headquartered at Cochin. And currently, I'm at the Mumbai Research Center. Actually, I wouldn't be talking the introduction about CIFT because Madam has already made an introduction, and these are some of the significant contributions that ICAR-CIFT has made to this sector. And they are like design and development of fishing systems, utilization of fishery resources, green energy technology in harvest and post-harvest sectors, bioprospecting of aquatic resources, molecular diagnostics for foodborne pathogens, quality system to ensure safe fish, mechanisms for technology management, dissemination, and commercialization. And CIFT is nationally and internationally recognized as a national reference laboratory, and it is accredited by FSSAI, ISO 17025, ISO 9001-2015, and it is a business incubation center and also a center of excellence for international training. And we have specific divisions catering to specific areas of research like fishing technology, fish processing, biochemistry and nutrition, engineering, quality assurance and management, microbiology, fermentation and biotechnology, extension information and statistics. Okay, now coming to the talk, why actually is there a need for the national campaign on fish? At least many of us here love fish. That is, we love to eat fish, we love to catch fish, and also we love the calming effect that fish has on our brains. And at least some of us would have heard this in our entire lives that fish is one of the healthiest sources of protein, and it is the cheapest and most affordable source of protein. But I don't know if we still can call that now, because currently the fish prices are not low. And also, I think all of us can agree on this point that it is one of the tastiest sources of protein. And more importantly, it is the least impactful of food sources on the planet. Yet a large percentage of Indians do not consume fish. And some part of this percentage do not consume fish for religious and cultural concerns. But there is a large group who just don't prefer to eat fish. And this national campaign is a way to reach out to those people and try and make a difference. And as all of us know, we have something called Sustainable Development Goals, which is actually a framework of 17 goals adopted by all the member states of the United Nations in 2015. It is actually a blueprint for achieving peace and prosperity for people and the planet. And these 17 goals are to be reached by 2030 in a global partnership mode. And among these SDGs, we have one on SDG 2 on zero hunger, which calls for ending all forms of hunger and malnutrition by 2030. And therefore, this goal for us calls for complete transformation of all food systems, including the aquatic production system. And now, why is fish so significant to human nutrition? That is because aquatic food provides a growing global population with healthy and nutritious food. And by 2030, that is the year by which we have to meet the SDGs, the population would grow by another 6%. And to meet the food requirements of this growing population, the fisheries growth expected is like 15%. And it is so heartening to say that around 20% of the protein requirements of millions of people globally are met by fish. And most of the data I'm presenting here is taken from the latest edition of SOFIA, that is State of World Fisheries and Aquaculture. It is an FAO publication, and it just got released less than a month ago on June 29th. And these are the figures for the 2020 total fish production, which is up to an all-time record high of almost 180 million tons. And it includes both culture and capture fisheries. And out of this total production, the capture fisheries contributed 90.3 million tons, and culture fisheries contributed 87.7 million tons. And if you look at this graph, this shows us how the culture fisheries have increasingly contributed to fish consumption data. Like in the 1950s, it was in its single digit. And by now, that is 2020, this has risen and overtaken the contribution from the capture fisheries. And by 2020, the statistics tell us that out of the 180 million tons of total production of fish, about 160 million tons were used for human consumption. And it is the second highest on record. There has been a slight dip in the consumption due to the COVID pandemic. And if you look at the top 7 producers of fish in 2020, that is the total global capture production, India stands at the 4th position. And all these 7 countries make up to 49% of the total capture production. And when it comes to consumption data, in terms of volume, India stands at the 5th position. Again, this source is from SOFIA 2022. And this graph tells us how the consumption, how people across the globe are increasingly eating fish over the years. This blue line here shows the population growth rate. That is from 1950 to 2020, the population growth rate is about 1.6. And the red line here shows the per capita consumption. It is growing. It's grown from 1950 to 2000 at the rate of more than 3%. That is, the fish consumption outpaced the growth in population. And you can see that in 1950s, again, the per capita consumption was 9 kg, and it increased in 2020 to about 20 kg per capita. And this is just a different perspective of the same information that I shared in the previous slide. In 1960s, it was about 9 kg per capita consumption, which increased to 20.5 in 2018. And it is also a matter of concern that during the past 6 to 7 years, there's not been much significant change in the consumption rates. The values hovering around 20 throughout this period. And there's unfortunately a dip in 2020, and that is said to be due to this COVID pandemic. And if you see the top seafood consumers in the world, we have the top 10 countries, and all of their seafood consumption, per capita consumption, is over 50 kg per capita. That is, in annual seafood consumption capita is above 50 kg. And if you look at the seafood consumption data among 10 countries with the highest GDP, and in this list, we have India, which is placed at the 10th position, but has very dismally low fish consumption. And this data is for 2018, and currently we have this value of 9 kg per capita, and still very low when compared to the world average. So we can understand now why India has such low consumption for fish consumption. If you look at this map of India, where we have the gray areas, that is comprising of northern India, central India, and western India, where less than 20% of people consume fish. And if you look at the absolute, in terms of fish producers, the top fish producer is Andhra, way ahead of the other states. And the Indian average is like 14.16 million tons. And if you look at Andhra Pradesh's consumption, fish consumption, it is among the lowest in the country. And if you look at the top fish consumers, we have Lakshadweep at the top spot, and followed by Andaman Nicobar Islands. And at 3rd place, we have Tripura. And Kerala, West Bengal, and Goa follow. And Haryana, you can see it has low, and national average we have 9 per capita, 9 kg per capita. And some interesting things about fish consumption patterns in India. For example, if you look at Lakshadweep, people in Lakshadweep eat 300 grams of fish per day, and its counterparts in Haryana, they need almost a year to consume as much. Okay, and then Lakshadweep's annual consumption is twice more than that of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and is in 3 figures. And we might think that Haryana people are poor fish eaters because they live far away from the sea. But Tripura is an aberration, and nestled high above in the northeastern hills, they have a fish capita, consumption per capita of almost 30 kg, and they are at the third spot in the list of top consumers. And fish is almost the last thing on the mind of an average Delhiite. And this is evident from their per capita consumption, which is 0.47. And Uttarakhand and Rajasthan are also in 0.7 and 0.86 per capita consumption. And for a northern state, Punjab ranks pretty high in the list with up to 16.47 kg per capita consumption. And all the northeastern states except for Sikkim are good fish eaters. And some states with double digits of fish consumption are Puducherry, Odisha, Assam, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, and Manipur. And as I've already previously mentioned, in Andhra Pradesh, in spite of being the largest producer in India, have the lowest consumption rates, amounting to like about 8 kg per capita. And now, if you look at some of these in nutritional status of India, just to give a perspective of how India fares when compared to other countries, we have here analysis of BRICS nations. And you can see the percentage of underweight children in India is up to 44%, where for other BRICS countries, it is in single digits. And Russia has not even one underweight child. And also some of this information that we have from the National Family Health Survey, the latest in the series, that is NFHS5, it is shown that there's not much significant improvement in health and nutrition status of Indians. And one of the things of greatest concern is that we still have about 7.5% of our children who are severely wasted. And anemia levels have increased over the last NFHS, that is NFHS 4 period. And this graph here shows that how we have almost not performed well in most of these nutritional indicators. And these global nutrition targets are actually just like those SDGs. And these global nutrition targets have been prescribed by World Health Organization in the year 2012. There are actually 6 identified targets, and these have to be achieved by 2025. And the report from the global nutrition targets says that India is off track to achieve all these except for 3 maternal, infant, and young child nutrition targets. That is those targets that are in green. Only those targets are, we are on track to achieve those, but rest of all these indicators, we are off course. And also when coming to the non-communicable diseases, India has shown very limited progress towards achieving this global nutrition target. And the reason main for this is advocated to be that Indian diet is very inadequate in fruits, legumes, fish, and dairy. These are very crucial for development and growth and development and prevention of non-communicable diseases. And it's a sad thing that in India, nutrient deficient diets are a fact of everyday life for millions. And this large prevalence of underweight and undernourished children in India is mainly because of the multi-micronutrient deficiencies that these children suffer from. And we believe that even the smallest kind of intervention would go a long way in improving these nutrition statistics. And this graph, a slide shows the ICMR, that is Indian Council of Medical Researchers, requirements, that is daily requirements for the major and minor nutrients. And surprisingly and interestingly, fish is probably the most affordable source to provide almost up to 40 essential nutrients. And now, why do we have to eat fish in the first place? It's because it's a storehouse of macro and micro nutrients. It has adequate protein, minerals like iron, calcium, zinc, vitamin, that is fat-soluble vitamins, and omega-3 fat. And all of these play a significant role in the development of a person, and then in developing their immunity, and also in all those metabolic reactions. And if you look at the nutritional composition of fish, the protein ranges from 18 to 20%, and crude fat up to 19%. This may look alarming, but as we all know, fish fat is the kind that is protective. And we have a lot of these fat-soluble vitamins also. And you look at the fish protein. Why fish protein is so special? It is because we have something called essential amino acids, which are 10 in number. And all these essential amino acids are available in fish. And that makes fish high quality protein. And it also has an important role. The fish protein plays an important role in growth and development of a person, and also contributes significantly to his or her immunity. And another interesting thing about fish protein is that it is easily digestible. And so much so that you can even advocate this providing fish to a sick person because of its easy digestibility. That is mainly because of the short size of its muscle fibers and also very low content of connective tissue. In comparison, if you can see, the fish is supposed to have just 2% of this connective tissue, and in comparison, the poultry and the goat meat would contain up to 20% of stroma meat. And fish powder, it is actually a product with low glycemic index, and it possesses many health effects like managing obesity, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, and malnutrition. And as we all know, fish fat, a large proportion of the fish fat is in the form of polyunsaturated fatty acids, which include omega-3 fatty acids, omega-6 fatty acids. And they are known to have multiple protective effects. For example, they are anti-inflammatory, they are cardioprotective, and they play a significant role in visual and neurodevelopment. They improve insulin sensitivity, which means they are good for managing diabetes. And squalene, we have this richly available in shark liver oil, and it also is cardioprotective. It's a significant antioxidant and antibacterial anti-aging agent. And coming to fish fat again, there has been so many studies in the early 1900s when it was noticed that the Greenland Eskimos never had heart attacks. That is, they had very, very low rates of cardiovascular disease. And this basically was attributed to the type of diet they consumed. They living in a very cold terrain, there's literally no vegetation. And predominantly their food contained fish, which was rich in omega-3 fatty acids. So this the protective effect was conferred to these people. And as I mentioned earlier, fish is a rich source of vitamins B, A, D, and all of them have very important roles to play in our daily metabolism, which goes on to improve our health and functioning. In the same way, we have a significant amount of minerals, say the magnesium, phosphorus, iodine, iron, and zinc. They also have very important roles to play in our daily metabolism that contributes to proper growth and development. And this is one nutrient called taurine, which is seen specifically in some kind of species like scallops, octopuses, tuna, and tilapia. And they have a range of protective functions in the body, like stabilization of cell membranes, prevention of cardiac arrhythmias, regulation of platelet function, reduction of blood pressure, and modulation of neuronal activity. And coming to fish oil, this is again a very specialty product, which is known. I mean, several studies have proved that it has several protective effects, like it controls cholesterol levels, it protects against type 2 diabetes, it effectively treats osteoporosis, it improves skin and hair health, reduces the risk of depression, reduces high blood pressure, reduces arthritis and macular degeneration, and it is very significant. It has very significant cardioprotective effect. And these are some of the nutraceuticals, that is, apart from the nutritional benefit, fish and its nutrients confer to us additional benefit, and such compounds are called nutraceuticals. And these are some of the products that CIFT has developed. For example, the protein hydrolysate, fish calcium, oyster peptide extract, chondroitin sulfate, squalene, astaxanthin, fish lipid, chitin and its derivatives. And just a word about the strategies that our government takes to control malnutrition. And I have listed some of the more popular ones. We have, I think, several more. like the Integrated Child Development Services Scheme, midday meal programs, special nutrition programs, wheat-based nutrition programs, applied nutrition program, National Nutritional Anemia Prophylaxis Program, National Program for Prevention of Blindness due to Vitamin A Deficiency, Poshan Abhiyan, and many more. And these programs are some of the best in the world, and they are designed to control the malnutrition levels. And actually, I think the policymakers should make note that we should consider the inclusion of fish and fishery products in all these national mitigation strategies for malnutrition. And I believe that this inclusion would make a significant change in our nutrition status. And it is also heartening to know that Odisha has recently begun to introduce fish in its nutrition schemes. And another thing about India trying to reach out to the millions is its public distribution system. It is one of the largest and best in the world, reaching millions of the needy. And there are a few concerns in public distribution system. And one of the chief concerns is that it distributes predominantly cereals. And again, policy makers should consider including fish and other animal sources of protein to make a change in the nutrition status of its millions. Thank you. That is the end of my talk. I'm ready to take any questions if anybody has any. In case nobody has any questions to ask, I thank everybody for joining this talk. And I have my colleague here who will propose the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Very good morning to all. On behalf of Mumbai Research Center of ICAR Central Institute of Fisheries Technology, I take this opportunity to propose the vote of thanks to those who have directly or indirectly contributed to this national campaign. On the outset, I would like to express my gratitude to all esteemed delegates, including directors, scientists, faculties, students from various institutes and colleges, and also other distinguished participants of the webinar for their presence and contribution made to make this program a great success. I would like to thank our director, ICAR-CIFT, for her uninstinctive support and confidence in us. She has been a constant source of encouragement and guiding force in all our endeavors. A special thanks to Dr. K.K. Asha, Principal Scientist and Scientist in Charge of Mumbai Research Center, for sharing her views with the participants today in this national campaign. Finally, I would like to thank the all staff of Mumbai Research Center for all their support in the past few days to make this program success. Finally, thank you everyone once again for your presence today. Thank you.